lay down the lead.
Hello, guys, and welcome to a live edition of Shelly Speaks. We are so excited to be here with you today. I have a super special guest. We have the Mile High Magnum, Dak Draper. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I've got a bulldog and a cat, dog and cat Draper. They're fighting in the background, but other than that, I'm doing awesome. How about you guys?
We're great. Super excited to be here. We also have one of our newest Body Slam recruits on here with us as well. Kiley, how are you doing?
I'm doing incredible.
Okay, we do have a couple questions for you. We're probably going to bounce back and forth if that's good with you.
Oh, totally.
Okay, and then we'll go through the comments if anybody has questions as well. My first question is about who I think is your wrestling soulmate. Eli Isom, would you agree that he's a wrestling soulmate? It seems like you guys always run into each other.
Oh my God, we are like married to each other. It is. So it's so funny. I would have never expected that when I first met him, just because we were like from parts of the country, definitely had different interests. I didn't realize we were both such big football fans, but we just kind of came up in wrestling very different ways. And but over the past 2 years, it's almost 3 years, we have like become like this in the ring. Like I feel like our chemistry is so good, and we both kind of like collided into each other and elevated each other. Like every time we wrestle, I feel like we just get better. And he's one of those people where he's like a huge foe of mine. Like I'm always like, oh, I hate you, Eli. But when I see him wrestling other people, I'm like, oh, well, I hope he does good, because obviously like him and I are like neck and neck. So I want to see him do good. Yeah, I agree with you that he is like my wrestling soulmate.
Yeah, because obviously we can see like your chemistry evolve so much like throughout the years. You guys had like your first match in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yeah, we had it in Columbus, and it was a 6-man match. I forget who my tag partners were, but it was him and Cheeseburger and Ryan Mooney, the formerly Ryan Nova. They were 3S. They all kind of came up to, or Cheeseburger trained those two. And I almost jumped out of the ring in the match. So here's the thing with the setup in Columbus at the ROH shows. There's like a big backdrop, and it's black, and our old barricades were also black, and so they would just like attach them to the backdrop. Our ropes are also black. I lost the ropes when I jumped to do a springboard, and I almost jumped out of the ring while he was in the ring, standing there expecting, like he sees me go for the springboard, expects to see me bounce off the ropes. One foot just goes straight through the ring, and the other one caught a rope, thank God, or I would have just jumped into the crowd, and I fell onto my neck, and I look, and I just see Eli looking at me, and he's just like, it was really, so our matches have gotten way better.
Yeah, that's a great story. I obviously just wanted to ask, how do you think you guys have been able to see your chemistry evolve? Is it just because you guys are having so many matches together, or is it because you guys are with each other so much more of the time now?
I think a lot of it is like we're both just getting more mature, and for him, he was way smaller then. Like maybe he didn't look smaller, but like just muscle mass wise, he was a lot smaller the first time we wrestled. Then I don't think we wrestled for another year and a half, and it was like he had gained so much muscle. He went from like a boy to a man, and like a powerful athlete. And I feel like that like almost just like added a new gear to what we could do.
Right.
And I think that's like the big thing. And I think both of us just kind of got more confidence, and really just learned about like just confidence and experience, and like learned about like what we could do, what our limitations were also. So I wasn't jumping out of the ring anymore. And yeah, I think it's just a lot of it's just maturity. We both matured so much, and we've probably both gone from boys to being men.
That's great. I love the pairing of you two. I don't know how it became so natural, but it definitely appears like that on screen. Kiley, I think you had the next question, right?
Yeah. So especially in the last few years, we've seen a lot of people travel back and forth between North America and Japan. It seems like fewer and fewer people are exclusive to one country. So is there any interest in working in Japan? No specific promotions, but I know that a lot of people would love to see you in Japan.
Oh, I
Me included.
Rising Sun. I would love to go to Japan. If the opportunity was there, I would take it in a heartbeat. My original trainer, Pat Tanaka, he was originally trained in Japan. He tried to train me in that style. It was really, really hard. Like our training was so hard. We would do 500 squats, 500 body squats before we would do anything else. And so you're like, your legs, that's probably why I have such big legs today, because like your legs, like big blown up balloons. And then you have to go learn wrestling moves after that. But it makes it makes everything else seem way easier. The bumps don't hurt as much when your legs are just like, your legs feel like they're like tender to the touch. But he always talked about Japan, and it's one of those things, like I would love to go there so much. If the opportunity presented itself, I would be there in a heartbeat.
Are there any Japanese talent you have your eye on? Anyone that you would just love to wrestle?
Oh man, well, of course, like the big one would be Okada. But that's like, I don't know, that's shooting pretty high in the air. You know, someone that I would really like to get in the ring with would be Hikuleo. I know his older brother. We were in NXT together, and then I also wrestled his dad a couple years ago, Haku, and I've seen him come up and seen him kind of evolve. We don't know each other personally or anything, but I've just always been kind of interested because he's like the youngest brother, and he's huge. He's like 10 feet tall. He's taller than me, and I'm like. And so that's somebody that I would really love to get in the ring with. I love wrestling guys that are bigger than me because I don't get to very often, and so. Yeah, any promoters out there, book me versus big guys.
He was in the States for a while. Hikuleo was here. He did Impact. He did AEW. So I feel like that one might not, maybe not in Japan, but I feel like we could see that pretty soon.
Oh, yeah.
So somebody will make it happen. But you said that you have what you think to be a chip on your shoulder. Is there a certain goal or a certain championship even that will make that chip become invisible? Or is it always a need to feel like you need to prove yourself?
It's always going to be there. I feel like that's kind of like the champion's mentality. Like you once you accomplish your goals, you're moving on to whatever's next. And one of those things that some of the people that I know in wrestling that have so much, they're the same way, where it's no accomplishment is big enough. Like, and I just think that it becomes addicting, like that hunger of that progress and just always feeling like you're moving forward. It's that's really what you're chasing. And those milestones are just like, those milestones help you to keep chasing something. Right.
Now I want to prod more. Is there one goal you have your eye on for 2022? I have my like goal board back here, but is there like one thing you're like, this needs to happen in order for 2022 to be a success?
So I don't have specific goals right now for 2022, like mainly because until about a month ago, I thought that all my goals were Ring of Honor based. So now like my big goals are to be in a lot of new promotions. Like I would love to wrestle for, there are 12 months in the next year, of course. Sorry, I just got done at the gym. There are 12 months in the year. I'd love to debut for 20 new independent promotions in 2022. I feel like less than to a month, that's totally doable. And I just want to get more places. I've signed, I feel like I've like been under contracts just with whether it's Ring of Honor, WWE, or NWL for a large portion of my career. And if I'm not under contracts with anybody, I would love to just like get around more and to be on more independent shows.
Right. Billy Starks.
Hey, cut it out.
Sorry. Billy Starks just did 37 promotions this year. So
that's insane.
Right.
That's awesome.
Somebody topped her too. She was like she might have been number 1 or number 7. I have the worst memory, but I know she did 37. I know that was the number.
I think she's like your age too, isn't she?
She is. She just had her birthday. I just talked to her. Yeah.
We were at St. Louis Anarchy, and she was making fun of me in the back because I was doing my little shoulder warm up. And yet, and there's no way that you'll be able to understand what it's like to be old. Someday you will, but there's no words that I can use to describe how creaky your shoulders are going to get.
Oh my God. Yeah, I don't want to think about that. We're not going to do that. Kiley, what do you have?
So in the last few months, like particularly with Bryan Danielson and Jonathan Gresham, we've seen this resurgence in technical mat-based wrestling. And you're, of course, part of that conversation. So I'm just curious, as someone who's very skilled in this sort of style in wrestling, what do you hope fans and what do you hope wrestlers learn from this sort of new popular style of wrestling?
I think the big emphasis on pure wrestling is really like you have to have fundamentals for it. You can't skip your fundamentals. And a lot of time there are a lot of tricks that are low-hanging fruit to get a really easy reaction, but at what cost? And I feel like having good fundamentals is so key. And like just the difference between when I first started, it was like I feel like it was a little bit harder to become a wrestler then, and a lot of guys didn't get fast-tracked through the fun, guys and girls. When I say guys, I mean guys and girls. It's guys and girls would be fast-tracked through. Now they're more fast-tracked through if you're really athletic and you can do a lot of flips and stuff like that. And on one hand, it's good because sometimes people aren't wasting as much time. But on the other, it's really nice when, say, something falls apart and somebody gets hurt. Everybody still has good fundamentals. Like, I think a big thing with fundamentals is safety. And so I think it really helps to emphasize fundamental wrestling and being really good at the fundamentals. Like, look at Jonathan Gresham. Like, everything he does is like it could come out of the wrestling textbook the exact way that it should be presented. And I don't know. I think that's the big focus. And I love the rules aspect of it too, where you have your rope breaks and you have the one punch. And I think it's something it's kind of hard at first. It's kind of like football or any sport. If you don't know the rules, it's kind of hard to follow. But once you learn the rules, then you can really see the intricacies of like, oh my God, this guy just forced a guy to get a rope break. And I just think I think those are the two big things: the focus on fundamentals, which I think is like greatly needed, and then also the ability to follow rules and almost to really be able to watch the wrestling even more in depth.
We've seen Jonathan Gresham and one of my favorite people on the whole entire earth, Baron Black, kind of want to pursue this idea of technical wrestling being its own style, and the idea that styles make fights. So are you following any of the stuff that Terminus is doing? Are you interested in any of the stuff that Terminus is doing, or would you even want to partake in a Terminus event or something like that?
Oh, I would love to be a part of it. I'm definitely following it. I have nothing. I haven't talked to Gresham about that at all. So it's something I would love to be a part of. But there has been no discussion about it. But I'm definitely following it. I saw that they announced Jordan Grace today. So yeah, it's definitely something I'm following. And
I was just telling Kiley this morning. I was like, Jordan, if you see me and I'm crying, you know it's me. Just so you're aware. I'm so ready. I'm going to be there. Some of the body slam people are going to be there. We're so excited. But I did want to say that your mom doesn't like wrestling, right? Or she didn't originally like wrestling. So what does she think about your job now? How has her mindset evolved about you being a wrestler?
So she's like nice about it. She tries to be supportive. At this point, it's like, I don't need support really because I'm so used to not having support. Yeah. She tries to be supportive, but like I don't want that kind of like that fake like, yeah, go get him. Did you win? Because like I don't know, that just takes energy like on both ends. I don't want to give. It's definitely one of those things where she like when she found out about Ring of Honor not renewing people's contracts, she was like, so do you think you're going to get a real job now? Or and it's like I don't know. It's just it's one of those things. But you can't ask everybody to understand something the way that you do. She's a huge pickleball player. She travels the country to go to pickleball nationals.
Hold on, what is pickleball? I don't know what that
I've never heard of this.
Like little tiny tennis, and they use a wiffle ball and like a little wooden paddle. I have one in my car. My mom gave it to me, so like I have one in my car, like in case a pickleball game breaks out on the street. So she's like super into it, and like she's really good at it. She beats me in it, and I'm a great athlete. It's one of those things where it's like she understands it and follows it so well, and it's like I enjoy playing it, but like she enjoys if she sees like one of my matches every once in a while. Like I enjoy playing pickleball every once in a while, but I'm not gonna like start following pickleball. So I kind of view that as this thing. We all have our own interests, and pro wrestling is not really her cup of tea. She loves amateur wrestling.
Oh. That's interesting. Okay.
That's how I got into amateur wrestling when I was a little kid. I had to go to kids wrestling practice in order to watch Monday Night Raw.
Oh my God.
And I hated. I loved the wrestling part when I would like wrestle with kids. Like that was awesome. But then they would make us do like conditioning and jogging, and I was like, oh, even the conditioning I didn't like as much because it was like running fast. But the warm ups where they made you jog, I'm like, this is pointless. We're not even running fast. So go high.
I used to like sports, and then we're like, you got to do conditioning. I was like, I'm out. I quit. I'm a writer. We'll stick to that. So sports are not for me.
Is this paper with some words?
Yeah. Kiley, what do you have?
So speaking of athletics, you're clearly a big guy, you're tall, you're in very good shape. How do you, in wrestling, do you break out of the sort of big guy mold? I feel like guys your size are always pigeonholed into this one specific style. So was it difficult for you to assert yourself as your own person?
It's so difficult all the time. People will see me and think, "Oh, well, he can't talk because he's a big guy that looks good." They'll think well, obviously he can't talk, and it's like I'm better at talking than I look, and they'll think that I've gotten this a lot too from coaches and certain more old school people. They'll be like, they'll tell me not to leave my feet, not to do a lot of my agility stuff like springboards and where I run up the ropes in the corner, or when I jump over people or jump outside the ring and back in. They try and tell me not to because they're like, it makes you look smaller. And I disagree. I feel like it makes me look like me. If I wanted to just be the biggest guy that was stationary in the middle of the ring, I would be eating. I've got cream of rice here right now, my post-workout meal. I'd be eating 2 of these cream of rices and be carbing up all the time. But I don't want to do that. I like being a mobile big guy. I consider myself like a Barry Windham type. Mm-hmm. And I don't think there are a lot of those in wrestling now where you're a big dude, but you're a little leaner and you can move and run and you're fluid with your movements. And so I think it's hard. It's kind of hard because especially in the 90s and early 2000s, the molds kind of got made in wrestling. And for big guys, it's like, well, big guys don't move. And a lot of times they have a manager. And so for me, I don't know if it's really breaking a mold, but just like bringing back like a different style of athlete, trying to bring back that Barry Windham type.
Yeah, and that's definitely what sets you apart, I believe, is when you see people who are 6'5", they're not always the ones who are doing all the moves that you're doing, and that's what makes you different. I did want to ask, how exactly did you get into wrestling? Was there like a specific match? I always like to ask wrestlers this because they always give me different answers. Was there a specific match or a show or something that caught your eye and you were like, I need to do this?
So there are 2 things.
Okay.
There was, I don't know what year this was because I was a kid. I remember watching the Red Rooster make his entrance, and he was like bobbing his head to the music, and he had like the little red Rooster mohawk, and and I was like, oh, that's cool. I just liked that this guy was like bobbing his head as he walked out to the music like a rooster, and then he went out to fight. It was really funny. And then I was the other time was probably actually earlier, which probably really like got me liking wrestling. My first ever memory watching wrestling was my dad and I. My dad loved wrestling. We were laying on the floor, on the living room floor, and there was wrestling on TV. And it was Macho Man Randy Savage, and he would do that axe handle like off the apron onto like a guy on the floor. And he did that, and I just thought it was so cool to see like this like wild guy Macho Man, and to see him jump like off the side of the ring onto the floor to like hit a guy. And it was like from there I was like, whenever wrestling was on, I was like, yes, wrestling is my favorite. And so mostly strawberry popsicles and Macho Man Randy Savage.
That's great. That's amazing. I feel like that's a lot of people's memories from your genre. For me, it's different. I was like John Cena. So
yeah, you're probably Shield.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that is exactly my era.
That makes me feel so old. I was in NXT with them.
Oh my God. Literally, I started watching in 2013, 2014, the night after WrestleMania 30.
So my walker is just off camera here that I need to use around.
Sometimes I really forget how young you are.
Life alerts.
I was like 10 there. Fifth grade. I was in 5th grade.
Wow. Okay, we need to stop talking about how young you are because it's making me grow up and become a librarian or something.
Oh God. Kylie, do you have any more questions?
Yeah, I have one more, and it's more of a personal self-satisfaction kind of question. We talked about you doing the indies. You say you want to tour everywhere. GCW, on your radar, not on your radar. I'm the biggest GCW fan. I'm a big fan of you. Let's make it happen.
Oh, I would love that. Yeah, they're totally on my radar. That's something that I would be so interested in. It's just I don't know if I'm exactly what GCW is looking for. But who knows what anyone.
Kevin Gill after this. I'm gonna talk to Kevin, and we're gonna make it happen.
We're gonna make it happen.
Tell me he's the tail at GCW. That'd be I would be very appreciative. That I'd be totally interested, and I think I could bring something totally new there, and hopefully that's a promotion that I cross off my list, or can not even cross off my list. I kind of hate that when people are like, I want to cross this promotion off my list. Like, I want to go somewhere and become the man, you know? Like, I want to become indispensable at the places I go. I want to go wrestle somewhere and have them be like, oh, we have to have Dak back. Like, it made me feel so good. Last month I went to Kansas City, and I couldn't believe the response that I got there. And I hadn't wrestled in Kansas City in years. And just to know that, like, I had done a good job. I lived there for a year, and I'd done such a good job when I was there. It was funny. The guy that I wrestled after the match was like, he's like, man, we should take this match on the road. Like, you could hear how loud the people were. And I was like, brother, if everybody was this loud for me, I wouldn't be sitting in this tiny locker room right now. But, like, that's the thing. Oh, I would be so interested in working there. They're everywhere right now. They run so many shows.
Yeah.
Also, something I didn't say, I definitely want to wrestle like over 150 matches in a year. I've never done that. I would love to do something like that in places like GCW that run all the time. I love that model. Beyond, I don't think anyone has booked more Ring of Honor talent since the announcement than Beyond has, and I think that's super awesome. Like, Drew has brought in so many ROH guys and just given them a new platform, and brought me up a bunch of times. And I love shows like that where they're always running, because it gives people a chance to wrestle. So, like, I feel like I've grown as a wrestler so much in the last month just because I've been in front of a crowd so much. My voice is always hoarse because I'm always yelling at the crowd. And I don't know. It's just it's been a busy month, but a good month.
If you'll let me, Kylie, I want a fantasy book for a second, GCW style. Okay, just because of the height thing, I want to see you face Jordan Oliver. I don't know if he's probably like what, 6'2", 6'3", close to that, something like that. He's huge. So just to see you guys go at it, I think GCW would be the perfect place. He's gonna have to finish up his thing with Atticus and his eye and all that stuff. But after that, I think he should hunt you out. Oh,
that'd be cool. I'll be here. I think he's got a lot of movement on me. I think he can move a little quicker than me, but I got that size, you know. So that'd be a rare time when I'd be looking at somebody that's close to my height and not consider myself the more agile guy.
Yeah, exactly. Before we let you go, is there anything that you want to say to any opponents, specifically maybe Josh Woods, any of the fans watching, anything like that?
Yeah, this weekend on Ring of Honor TV, I faced Josh Woods for the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. And it is a match where it's two former amateur wrestlers. We both wrestled in college. And I feel like Josh is someone who he utilizes a lot more of his amateur wrestling. And I feel like I'm someone who, once I got into pro wrestling, especially in my training with Tanaka, I really immersed into pro wrestling, where I feel like I do a lot more traditional pro wrestling stuff. And then I'll pull out the amateur. I'll pepper in some amateur stuff. I feel like Josh is like predominantly amateur wrestling, and he'll pepper in some pro wrestling stuff. And so it's kind of a weird little yin and yang. And I think it'll be a very enjoyable match, both for pure wrestling fans and technical wrestling fans, and for just fans of pro wrestling in general. Or if you're just someone who enjoys seeing two dudes that are like in great shape, like working hard, you're also going to like it. If you enjoy
television, has to be like a demographic. There has to be a demographic of fans that just want to see dudes in great shape fight each other.
Right? There has to be. I don't know where they are yet, but we will find them.
Right. They're there. They're probably not watching the Body Slam stuff, but they're somewhere. So let the people know where they can find you, all of your merch and all that good stuff.
So all my stuff is my Twitter and my Instagram. That's where most of my stuff goes up. It's at Mile High Magnum, all one word. And I just put up 2 new promos in the last 2 days. I'm facing Rich Swann on tomorrow in New York City. And then I'm wrestling frontman Jossie, who's an awesome talent from the Midwest. He's got crazy personality. I actually own a Jossie shirt that I bought. I paid full price for it. I actually bought it from Pro Wrestling Tees because I didn't want him to, I knew he wouldn't sell it to me at full price. So I bought it from Pro Wrestling Tees because that's how.
Go to the show, wear it, and rip it.
But I like it. It's one of my favorites. I wear it all the time. And so John's like real young. And once I was at a Ring of Honor show and people were asking me about the shirt. Sorry, the Bulldog bumped the camera. Somebody asked me about the shirt, And I was like, oh, this guy's great. And we got a big group of guys around. I'm like, look at this promo. And I just hit the first promo that I could find on his Twitter. Hey, guys, stop trying to pull the camera down, okay? I got the first promo I could find on his Twitter. And it's one where he didn't speak at all. So everybody just watched this 2-minute-long video of his head the camera. And I was like, no, there's got to be one where he talks. And it's just like, it was too late. Everybody walked away.
Yeah.
And I always thought that was like the funniest thing. But I'm wrestling him on Friday for Journey Pro. And then this weekend, I'll be at, that's in Kansas City. And then this weekend, we'll have the match with Josh Woods airing on Ring of Honor TV. So don't miss it.
Yes, we are so excited for that. Make sure you guys all check that out on Fight. And then also, Kylie, where can they find you? All the good stuff you're doing with Body Slam.
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter. It's at Fuller, my last name, _Kylie. I'm doing a lot of news and sort of editorial work on Body Slam. I'm also doing podcasts. I'm going to be in the first GCW post show for Body Slam, and we're going to be doing an AEW review show.
Yes, thank you guys so much. You guys can follow me on Twitter as well at Jaychele Nicole. We all have our little @s if you're watching on the screen and our little overlays over there. That is such a cute dog. Oh my God, I was trying to get through the plug, but the dog is so cute.
Here's my son. He or burped. All right, you want to go down, Bub? All right, you go down.
You guys can also check out Body Slam on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter,
so small.
Oh my God. All the animals. I love the animals in the stream.
Dak Draper, friend of animals.
Yes. You guys can check us all out, Body Slam Net, on all social media platforms, bodyslam.net, for all of the wrestling news content. Dak, thank you so much for being on the stream with us today. It was so great to have you.
Hey, thank you guys for having me on. This was a blast.
Yes, thank you. Have a great day, guys. We hope you enjoyed the show. Peace out.